Hello my dear students, welcome to your environmental studies class. Today we will continue the same chapter, chapter number 13, a reverse tale. In today's video you will learn about flood and how do we clean an impure water. Okay, so before going to today's topics, we will just revise and learn the things what we have studied in our previous video. In the previous video, we learned about different sources of water, right? What are the uses of water? From where all do we get the water naturally? And what all are the man-made sources of water, right? Then we learned also about the water pollution. How does a pure water which originates from the river turns into a impure water? What are the man-made causes? How does a man makes the water impure and turns into a water pollution? We learned so many causes also about it. Now in today's class we will learn about the flood and cleaning of water. So let's jump into that. Before that, let me tell you one more important point, that is, when you drink impure water, okay, we saw that when it originates from the river, it's a very pure water. But as it starts flowing, when harmful substances are mixed with these water bodies, it turns into impure water. And if we drink this contaminated water, there will be diseases known as waterborne diseases like typhoid, cholera, diarrhea, gastroenteritis, means the problems, diseases connected with your stomach. Okay, so these type of diseases are caused due to drinking impure or contaminated water. Okay, the diseases caused like malaria, diarrhea, cholera, dysentery, gastroenteritis, typhoid. All these are the diseases which you usually heard of. The other diseases are also caused from impure water itself, but you just can memorize these names of the diseases what I have said to you now, like typhoid, malaria, gastroenteritis means the diseases caused to the stomach. Okay. Then dysentery, cholera, all these are waterborne diseases which are caused due to drinking impure or contaminated water. Now, let me ask you another question. Do you think the water level of rivers always remains the same? No. During dry season, when there is no rain, the level of water will be very low. The rivers will remain dry. Okay, but when it is a wet season, when there is rainy, what happens? The level of the water rises up. The level of the river water rises up, and it will lead to overflow of river water called as floods. Okay, the level of the river doesn't always remains the same. It will vary according to the season. If it is a dry season, what will happen to the river? The river will remain dry. There will not be any leveling up of water. But when there is a wet season, when there is rain, what happens? The level of the river rises up and the overflowing of river happens, and that leads to flood. Flood means overflow of river which submerges. Submerges means immerse. Okay, submerges a land which is usually dry. You can see in this picture, this land is usually dry because of the overflow of river. What has happened? It has submerged this land. It has immersed it with water. Okay, it has filled with water. That is what is meant by a flood. Flood is a overflow of river water which submerges a land that is usually dry. Okay, and the level of the river doesn't remain same all the time. During summer season or during dry season, what will happen? The level of the water decreases. Okay, but during wet season, it start rising up. When it is too much, what happens? The river water starts overflowing, and that leads to flood. Overflowing of river is flood. Okay. Flood is not just caused by overflowing of river. It can caused by rainwater also. This is a natural flood. Means overflowing of river. We humans cannot control to an extent. But rain that is happening here also are uncontrollable. But they are artificial floods. Why we can call this as an artificial flood? We'll take an example of Mumbai. Mumbai is a city, it's a very fancy city. There people are crowded there. There are lots of tall buildings. Okay, it's overcrowded city, that one. Okay, so in that place, usually when there is rainy season, everything will come to a standstill. Means that the road, all the lanes, all the places gets filled with water. This is because there is no place for the rainwater to flow out. All is a problem of the drainage system there. There is no place for the water to flow out. Everything gets blocked there. So what happens if there is no place for the water to flow out? What will happen? The water will remain there itself. Okay, and it will become difficult for everyone to move out. So during rainy season, most of the people in Mumbai stay at home itself because they don't have any other option to go out, because the road will be completely filled with water because of the problem of the drainage system. So this we can call it as a natural flood, and this we can call it as an artificial flood. Even though it is caused by rain, rain is a natural source, even then this is not able to, the rain is not able to flow out, the water is not able to flow out. So what happened? It becomes flooded there. Okay, because of that, artificial floods are formed in Mumbai. Not in Mumbai, almost all the cities face the same problem. There is no place for the water to flow out. Okay, so this is a natural flood, and another one is caused by the artificial flood because of the poor drainage system. Now, what are the problems that are caused by a flood? Do you know what are the problems that are caused by the flood? There are many problems caused by the flood. Okay, people die of starvation, hungerness, they don't get the food. People are not able to bring the food for the places who have faced natural calamity. Okay, so they are not able to get the food. They die out of starvation. They lost their life. Okay, then the another one is they are difficult for the transportation. They cannot move from one place to another. Then it affects the farm. The flood affects the farm. You can see all the farming field have been destroyed. So there are lots of problems faced by the flood. Flood causes starvation, loss of life, loss of animals. Okay, difficulty in transportation, affects the farms. There are lots and lots of problems caused by the floods. Now, how this can be solved? If there is proper drainage system. Okay, if there is place for the excess water to flow out, if there is proper drainage system, if there are canals or if there are dams, if these kind of provisions are there in our country, then floods can be controlled. We cannot stop flood because it's a natural disaster. We cannot stop it. But we can control it by providing these kind of facilities like drainage system. Okay, the water can flow out through the drainage system. Then canals. Dams. When we talk about the dam is called as a multi-purpose project. What is the meaning of multi-purpose project? It means that it is useful in many ways. There are so many uses for the dams. If you look closely to the picture of dam, you can see a part of the dam, they have stored water. It's actually an artificial lake which has been blocked by a strong wall. Okay, you can see a strong wall here, and this river is blocked here and formed an artificial lake here. So what happened when the level of the river rises, all the more water, what is the level more than that, those water get stored in dams. And when the areas need water, they will open the shutters and let the water flow out. So this dam controls the flood a lot. Okay, so that is why dam is a multi-purpose project. From dam, you can generate electricity, you can control flood. Okay, so there are different uses for the dam. So you can see an artificial lake which is blocked by a river. Okay, it is blocked by a strong wall built across the artificial lake. Okay, and if there is a need of water, what they will do? They will open the shutters and let the water, artificial lake starts flowing out. So like this type of facilities we can control flood by proper drainage system, by canals and by the dams. Okay. Now, we said that when the water originated from the mountains, it was very pure, right? But when it started flowing towards the villages, city and towns, it started turning into impure water. So answer to a question, okay, how can you find out whether a water is a pure water or an impure water? Yes, maybe because of the color of the water or because of the foul smell of the water. Let me ask you one more question. If the water may seem clean, but can you make it sure that water is good for drinking? No, not at all. Okay, there are certain substances in water. Some of the substances get mixed up with the water very easily. But there are other substances which do not get mixed up with the water. Like, as I have showed in the picture here, sugar. If you take a bowl of water and if you take a spoon of sugar, if you put inside and start stirring it, mixing it, what will happen? You can see that the sugar is getting mixed with the water, right? They are getting mixed with the water. We cannot see the sugar more, right? It already got dissolved in the water. It get mixed with the water. Those kind of things are called as soluble things. What they are called as? Soluble. S-O-L-U-B-L-E. Soluble. Like salt. Okay. Salt. Soap water. Soap. Okay. Then these are some of the soluble substances which gets mixed with the water very, very easily. Now let's move on to insoluble. Insoluble things are those things which do not get mixed with the water very easily. They remain like this, separated from the water. Like oil, you can see when I poured a spoon of oil to the water, it is remaining it's floating on the top of the water. It's not getting mixed with the water. It's not getting dissolved in the water. Such kinds of things are called as insoluble things. Things which gets mixed up with the water, they are called as soluble, and the things which do not mix up with the water, they are called as oil. For another example is a sand. If you put sand in water, what happens? After a few minutes, you can see all the sand have settled at the bottom. So, the sand is not able to get mixed up with the water. Flour, the same thing, same kind of thing. They also do not get mixed up. They just settle down under the glass. Okay, so things that can mix up with the water or we get dissolved in the water, they are called as soluble things, and things which do not get dissolved in the water are called as insoluble things. Okay, now let's move on to the next one. And one more important thing I want to say, water is a universal solvent. It can dissolve most of the things than any other liquid. Okay, it has a capacity to dissolve most of the things than any other liquid. So, water is a universal solvent. Now, next one. How should we turn the impure water to a pure water? There are different methods. The common method that what we use in our house is boiling. Right, when we get the water, we first what we do, we will boil the water and then only we will take it for drinking. So, boiling is the best method to clean an impure water, and the common method what we use, boiling method. Okay, boiling. What will happen when you boil the water? It will kill the bacteria and germs in the water, and it will be good for us to drink the boiled water. Next one is purification. It's an old form of purification where you can see a clay pot is taken and they have been filled with different things like sand, with a granule sands, gravel, stones, and the water is being filled on the top of that. When they pass this water to different areas, what will happen? Different steps, what will happen? The water becomes pure and it gets collected in a tumbler and you can drink it from this tap. Okay, this is called as a pot purification. Okay, it's called as purification. So, common method what we use is boiling. It's a method which some of the people use it. Usually other than boiling what we use is UV lights. Okay, you would have heard about this kind of filtrations called UV lights. You would be having filters at home that you can take water directly from that and drink it. This is one kind of cleaning the water, filtration. Filtration is another kind of cleaning the water, filtration. Okay, filtration, UV light filtrations are there. Okay, so different kinds of methods are there to make a impure water, pure water, so that it's good for drinking. And the most usual method what we follow is boiling method. So these are the different kinds of purification methods what we have. We have boiling, sedimentation, distillation, distilled water that you get in bottles to drink. Okay, distillation, ultraviolet light filtration, all this are coming under cleaning of water. Okay, there are other method called as chlorination, in which the chlorine tablets are being put and all the germs of the water are being killed, and that is good for drinking. Okay, so these are some of the different methods of cleaning water. One is boiling, purification, filtration. Okay, there are different methods of cleaning water. You have activity in page number 1111. They have given you different names of things. They asked you to do an experiment in page number 1111 and fill the boxes here. So try to do this when you come for your online classes. And with this, I hope you have understood the topic what we have covered today. Let's revise it one more time. First one is waterborne diseases, diseases that are caused by drinking impure water. Then we learned what is a flood, right? Flood means overflow of river water which submerges a land which is usually dry. Okay, then we learn there are natural flood as well as artificial flood. Artificial floods are actually caused by the poor drainage system. Now we learned what all are the different problems caused by the flood. Starvation, loss of life, affects the farm, and what all are the solutions like proper drainage system, canals, dam. If they are being constructed, what will happen? We can control these kind of problems. Then we learned what is a soluble and what is an insoluble thing. Then finally we learnt about how we have to clean water, how we have to turn a impure water to a pure water for drinking. I hope these topics are clear for you. With this I end my class. Thank you, my dear children.